So, dear subscription students and anybody else who happens to watch us on YouTube, this video is about knees and specifically when we come to forward bends and the issues that you may have. So we're going to look at two poses, Janu-Sirsasana and Triang Mukha Paschimottanasana, and how to set yourself up with knee issues. Number one rule is that you shouldn't feel pain, especially in the knees. We don't want to feel pain in the joints. So we need to adapt the pose until the pain goes away. And if really that's not possible, we have to work other poses towards that pose. But mostly we can adapt in a way that we'll be able to do it. So we'll start with Paschimottanasana, not Paschimottanasana, Janu-Sirsasana. So, firstly, I said no pain, but the first rule of this shape pose, like a Paschimottanasana shape or a Janu-Sirsasana shape, where the knee is out to the side, is that the knee should never be higher than the hip. The knee is higher than the hip. Even if there's no pain, you will lift your support underneath the buttocks so that it's higher. But mostly, if the knee is higher, something will be uncomfortable. So now the knee can drop. However, you don't want it to drop too far either, nor do you want it to float. So then you will take another blanket. And knee issues, you need lots of blankets. The second thing we want to do is make space behind the knee. So you'll take a rope or a belt or a bandage, a cloth, a hand towel, anything like that. So a rope is very nice because that rounded shape, and because by pulling the rope, we can soften those ligaments and we can do it quite accurately at the different points. Hold the one side, control the one side, and work to open the knee. Don't worry too much about that now. Just give yourself enough space. Another thing that's very important is when you take your foot towards you, take your foot from underneath. This encourages the movement to come from the hip where we want it to come from. If you take the foot from on top, it tends to come from the inner knee, hardens the inner knee and closes the inner knee. So that action you don't want. From underneath is the better action, all right? Then you turn towards your leg. Now, I wasn't going to talk about the straight leg, it was more about the bent leg. However, it is good to note that when we go up, obviously the back of the leg will not touch the floor, or even shouldn't touch the floor, because then we're hanging too much. So you could take a bandage, so you still have a straight leg, but especially for those who tend to hang in the back of the leg, there's a little bit of support. Then you turn towards your straight leg, and you will use your other belt if you need, if you can't reach with your hands, or you'll use your chair. Now, if this is still painful on me, there is another variation, another version that we can do with two chairs. So I'll move this out of the way because I'll use it for the next one. Okay, so you have one chair to sit on, one chair on which you will go forward. Now remember, use the same leg, that we had the leg out. So instead of having it in the bench, where this is closed, we have our right angle. You keep your right angle, and then don't let the knees fall in. Keep it as if something is holding it back from the inner knee. Turn towards your chair and come forward. Doesn't matter how far forward you go, whether your head reaches the chair or not, but at least now you can start this movement from the hips and get that length of the adductors. So those are the two main options that you would use for Janu-Sirsasana. Now next is Triang Paschimottanasana, where the legs are in this direction. So even if you don't have any issues, always a good idea to have some support so that by the time you bend your leg back, both buttocks are level and you're not falling over onto your straight leg side. That's exactly the same principles that we apply here, in that we lift the buttocks and we give space behind the knees. So I've had a student even do with 2 bolsters and a blanket. So you can go very high. You can come forward, put your support, and go down, still with something behind the knee here. A bandage might be a little bit much. So you take the bandage, your support behind the knee, and you sit down. Is your knee okay? If yes, wonderful. If not, you can go even higher. You sit as high as you need. Now the ankle may be another issue. However, as you come up higher, you also take a little bit of that pressure. Ideally, the toes are straight back and that front ankle is to the floor. Now here, because I'm sitting up so high, there is a huge gap. Make sure everything is close enough. You don't want to lean over too much and do anything silly, trying to get your support. Here you will take a higher support, maybe a roll blanket. Even that is not enough. Sorry, I pushed the stuff out the way so that it wouldn't be messy and screen. I will throw and you make sure everything is within easy reach so that you don't lean over and catch something, because it's not always in the poses that we will hurt ourselves, it will be in the getting in and getting out. So I have to take, there we go, a little bit more. The leg is still completely straight. Not bent, but it's not hanging. And then, of course, either you use your chair, or you can take with your hands, or you can take with your other belt. Now, mostly, at least the students who have had to do this pose, I've never had anybody that we couldn't figure it out with enough height. However, if you're a new student, we haven't got to this pose yet, and it was quite advanced knee situation, in which case you can start in Vajrasana, or even stand up Vajrasana, feet a little bit apart, knees a little bit apart, and you bring, or you get somebody to help you. You practice this before a class, you don't have to worry about rushing, or because it'll be difficult for you to get your own support high enough. So you get somebody to help you and pass you blanket after blanket until you can sit. Even have a chair in front so that you control how much you can go down. So now I can make, oh, it's starting to get so, no, I can come. Or, okay, little by little, the knee is relaxing. Of course, make sure that it stays close enough. One more thing, which I should have shown even in the previous version, whether your height is high or low, in this shape, where the Vajrasana, Virasana, Triang, Mukha, Paschimottanasana, the knee, skin of the knee gets stuck a little bit underneath and it pulls on the knee. So lift the knees one at a time. And then in your Virasana, always make sure that your toes are straight back and this outer ankle in. When releasing from these poses, it's a good idea to squeeze the knee, to bring all the parts of the knee back in place, and also Paschimottanasana for the knees, where you squeeze knees tightly afterwards. Okay, so this was a bit of a high-speed video, but you know the subscription classes are short. And so this way, if you watch this video before the class, which I'm going to send to you, then you know that number one, knee issues. You need lots of blankets, lots of belts, things to roll up, bandages, chairs, and rather be patient with yourself and set yourself up properly. Those who do the recordings means you can pause, set yourself up, and then start when you set up, restart the video. But even in the live classes, do not get impatient and careless and think, oh, I'm not going to do enough of the pose. Less is more if done well. More hurting yourself is a disaster. So go with caution, go with care, and any questions, please ask me, especially those that I don't see live. Namaste.